Dictionary, who did a talk at TEDx Sydney in 2015 called The Power of the Dictionary. Would you please welcome Susan Butler? Good morning. So again, what does the theme mean to you, Susan?
Well, I think as an individual, I'm conscious that I can have an idea or a feeling, or I observe something, and it's it's a woolly mess out there until I've actually found the right words for it. And so I'll find myself in the car trying out some words. You know, does that actually get it? Not quite. No. And then I finally get the right words, and suddenly that idea crystallises, the observation, I can see what it is I was looking at. The words give it a reality that it didn't have when it was just that woolly mass out there.
It's good to find some focus, isn't it? One of the things that we spoke about the other day, Susan, was this idea, and actually Simon brought this up as well, even with the concept of the copy editor, but that the people that have always been there watching are less likely to be there. And you use the term gatekeepers. So tell me what you mean there.
Yes, I thought of that again when Simon was speaking. In the olden days, we used to have a system for delivering text to people who would publish that text, and there would be all these people who would go through it. We also had a system for teaching the community how to use words and what the language was about. And children would practice writing in schools, and they would graduate and their writing would all get better, and their teachers would say, no, or yes, that's very good. And in publishing, the editors would say, you can't do that, you won't tidy it up. And in newspapers, you'd have the sub-editors taking whatever garbage was given to them and turning it into something that was publishable. So these are the gatekeepers that I was talking about. And it was their responsibility to make things perfect for publication. Those gatekeepers have gone by and large, although it's nice to see some of them are coming back. And what we have now is a situation where we are all, as individuals, responsible for our publication. So the old rules still apply. You still have to have had that idea and then found the right words for it, because until you find the right words, it's just a woolly mass. You have to know what you're talking about. I always remember, one of the lessons my father taught me was you can't half know something. If you sort of know something, then you probably don't. You either know it or you don't. So this sort of I think is not good enough. You have to go and check your facts and actually know that you know what you're talking about. After that, there is this area of language usage, where I think, and I may sound like grandma, which I am, so that's perfectly okay. Yes, that's right. The need to make your texts free of error. So you need to spell correctly, you need to use good grammar, you need to watch your usage, you get your expressions right, and so on. And people may not think that matters much. I think in the early days of the internet, actually everyone thought that along with all the democratisation that was going on, there was a democratisation of writing as well, and that we didn't worry about spelling and grammar and all that sort of stuff. It was trivial. You had an important message to get across, so you flung it out there to the world, and if they complained about the spelling, well, that was just being petty and pedantic and so on. So I think everyone's recovered from that now, and they feel, yes, it still matters, because those sorts of things are still a distraction. They come between you and the audience. And if you find that the audience is focused on your typo rather than on what you want to get across to them, then you've lost. And it might have been hard to preach that message in the past, but Trump produced convey, and you only have to tell people the story of convey, and they will get the point.
Which I can't even believe you can say that word, which is very impressive. Which leads me to the point. Aedhmar and I were talking about it earlier. Is this that technology can be a thing that can connect, but also can improve our grammar. So we can have various sort of systems, and it's as simple as a word, thesaurus or dictionary or whatever it is, spelling thing in our WordPerfect document. It's a very old school term, isn't it, WordPerfect? So the gatekeepers exist, but do they exist in another way through technology, and is it as successful for you?
that the gatekeepers are coming back in either human or digital form. I don't think that, well, again, the rules are still the same. You need to ask where those gatekeepers are coming from. If you're using a spell check, a grammar checker, you know, all the sorts of tools, it's wonderful to have something there right on your phone or on your computer that will, you don't even have to ask it. It butts in and says, okay, you've spelt that, you know, did you really mean to spell it that way? But if that gatekeeper is actually coming from America or Britain, then it can become extremely irritating to be told that you've spelled axe, A-X-E, and you really ought to be spelling it A-X. You're inclined to throw an axe at it, because that means you have to build into it all the words that are your Australian English common currency. So it is, I'm all for technology. I think that now that people can have dictionaries on their phones, you know, Macquarie Dictionary is closer to everyone than it has ever been. There's no longer that thing where, you know, my mother used to do this to me. I'd be doing my homework and I'd say, how do you spell such a... Go and look it up in the dictionary. And I would have to go into the other room, get this old book with a battered green cover that was called the Imperial Dictionary of 1904 and bring it back into the lounge room where I was doing my homework. Now I would just look at it on my phone, but I have to be sure that what I'm looking at is a record of Australian English, which has the words in it that I want to look up, which has the spellings that are accepted by my language community, and the usage notes which are accepted by my language community. Because although we talk about international English, it doesn't really exist. There's a conglomeration of varieties of English, with British English and American English being the leaders in the pack and fighting it out between them about which one's actually going to win as international English. But we haven't reached that point yet, and we would still need to have something which is a faithful record of our own variety of English.
Okay, we're about to play a game in a moment, so I've asked everybody favourite or least favourite word. Susan, your favourite word?
My favourite word is susurration.
Which means?
Which means a sighing sound, like the sighing of the wind in the trees. A susurration.
So we should all have a collective susurration to thank, is that correct usage?
Yes,
Susan
yes,
Butler?
yes.
Okay, a collective
Okay,
susurration to thank Susan Butler. So on that note, what is